Major rainfall totals are expected over the region in southern Iowa that have already been impacted by major rain over the last few days. In this video, we're going to be going over some of the major impacts that could occur over these areas. Alright guys, welcome back to another video here today. We're going to be going over the major flooding threat that is possible, especially flash flooding threat here over the next 2 days as we get through Sunday, through the weekend. Starting to look at a pretty major threat right now, honestly, for most of southern Iowa especially, but some other parts of Iowa as well. But as you can see, we start now with the moderate risk for both day 2 and day 3, which is Sunday's day 3, and then obviously Saturday's day 2. Both days have a moderate risk currently in place for excessive rainfall outlooks, and that really showcases the potential for some major flooding to occur. So first we're going to dive into why this is a major threat and like what the main part of this is. So the reason this is such a major threat right now is because look, this is the rainfall over the last 72 hours. We had a very significant amounts. We had up to 6 to 7 inches of rain down for Appanoose County and a lot of these other counties in southern Iowa, especially near Mystic, Iowa, just north of Appanoose, just in central Appanoose County is where these main rainstorms have formed over the last 2 days here. And we've had a lot of rain, even in northwest Iowa, but not going to be much of an issue up there. But southern, south central Iowa is the main issue right now for the next coming days because we've already had so much rain. And what that does here, as you can see, these stream flow graphics here. These are the percentiles right now as of August 7th, as of last night. As you can see right here, the percentile is over the 90% percentile, as you can see. So we're very, very saturated for much of southern Iowa, even into eastern Iowa here. This whole portion of central and eastern Iowa is very saturated right now. And as you can see, the stream flow percentages also are very, very high for the Sheraton River and southeastern Appanoose County. And as you can see, we've just had a lot of rain. I mean, a significant amount of rain. Even just from this one, you can see just how much. This is the average, and it's very high especially for early August. Usually we got a very dry season right now. But as you can see, this blue is for the much above normal, and the black is for high, which is significantly above. Same with this one. You can see it's 90th percentile runoff, and all of these are very basically maxed out for the most part. So we're very much looking at some major potential impacts for southern Iowa, especially Appanoose County, with how much rain we had before. So as I said before, we had the moderate risk in place for the next 2 days. So as we look through the outlook here, you can see a couple different things. They all say in coordination with these, they decided to upgrade for much of this. And it says guidance is in decent agreement that storms are initiated in northern Wisconsin and act as a chain reaction, kind of form down, which we're going to be looking at models next. But for this part, we're just going to be reading their discussion. So as you can see, it's going to pop up. We got some shear. We're going to support additional convective development towards south and west, obviously into Iowa, as these 4 to 6 inches of rain will be possible, and isolated higher rainfall amounts will be possible. We already had up to 7 inches of rain in southern Iowa, resulting in 1 to 3 inch per hour of rainfall. That causes extremely high potential for flash flooding across a lot of Appanoose County, especially when we already have such saturated ground. As like I said, with how saturated the ground is, I mean, this dirt really does not help. There's not much difference between super saturated dirt and concrete at that point. I mean, your rainfall is just going to flow straight off that dirt into creeks, low-lying areas, streams everywhere, like the Mystic Reservoir, already overflowed before. So that's another thing, like I said, you've got to be watching out when this happens. If we get up to 1 to 3 inches per hour rainfall, that's a very major amount in just an hour time. So we could easily have dam breaches again, like we did before. As is typical at the events, the greatest coverage and intensity storm likely to occur overnight. So as the overnight hours go on from Saturday into Sunday, we're going to have our major rains. The heaviest rains are going to push into eastern Iowa. For storms in Wisconsin, they're going to be through the day. But the most worrisome thing is eastern and central Iowa right now, because eastern and central Iowa are extremely saturated, like I mentioned. And then the slight risk area is not as big of a deal, but it still could be in the area here, especially northern Missouri. We still have that issue. It's pretty saturated. But then the next day, the same thing, guys. We've got another thing for the next day. So in the coordination, blah, 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 it's all the same kind of stuff. Widespread convection is also across that. And then it says training and multiple rounds of storms are likely. So, I mean, we're going to have just continual rain showers, just keep building on themselves, just back building and back building and back building, and causing extreme amounts of rainfall totals to keep occurring over and over and over again for a lot of these areas that have already been hit like crazy this year. So we're just going to start looking into a little more. This is the river flooding, so it's a little bit of a different thing than creek flooding and like, flash flooding, but this is like actual flooding. So this showcases that a lot of these rivers are already high. So as you can see, we do have a significant river flooding is possible. So that is very, very dangerous. River flooding is even worse than just flash flooding because that's like longer times. Like those can just keep occurring and really overflow into a lot of the areas and farms and stuff and really wash out areas. Unlike flash flooding, which is a little more brief and it's a little quicker, but still not something to mess around with at all. And you can see we have significant river flooding possible up in further portions of eastern Iowa, up into Illinois. But yeah, this is a very important area to keep watching on as we get into the next couple days. So the first thing we're going to look at is the Weather Prediction Center forecast for rainfall totals. As you can see, Kirksville showing 2.6 inches. A lot of these areas around here are going to show 2 to 3 inches of rain over the next 72 hours, which goes through until Monday. And even for up in Eastern Iowa, we're looking at 4 to 5, even 6 inches of rain up by Dubuque. And that's a forecasted by the Weather Prediction Center. That's not a model run. So I mean, this is their actual forecast is showing almost 6 inches of rain. For a lot of these areas. I mean, you can just see how much and how widespread this rain is. Even the rain up here can wash down and start to flood downstream into these areas that are going to get higher rain that have already been hit. And that's where you're going to get everything to combine up in lakes and ponds and rivers and streams. That's how you get your real flooding instead of just flash flooding. And those where your really, really, really major impacts can happen, especially near cities and other areas where they just completely wash out areas from rivers into the fields and just drag that into towns and cities, especially with how saturated it is. It's just going to continue to get building up and building up as we get on. Now, this is the SREF, which is like a short range ensemble, which takes in combination a bunch of different models. It always is going to be a little lower than actually, like I said, the Weather Prediction Center, that's their actual forecast. This is kind of like a blend of the models. So we're looking at almost 2.25 inches is what the blend of models, which is insane. That is a very high amount for these models to be, for an ensemble to be showing, especially at this point. But you can see 2.5 inches almost up in central Iowa and even in southern Iowa, 2 inches definitely. So I mean, this is kind of like the low end of the risk is at least 2 inches of rain, which is going to be even just 2 inches of rain is going to do a significant amount with how much rain we've had recently. Like I mentioned, it's basically like concrete going across that the wet dirt. Now we're going to look at a regular weather model, the HRRR or HRRR model. This is going to be a little bit more high definition and show you guys some of the other stuff that can happen as well. So we're going to go into this. This is tomorrow morning at noon, and as you get into the later afternoons, we're going to have some severe weather potential actually over near Ottumwa and southern Iowa, and then also up in eastern Iowa. I didn't even show the severe weather outlook, but I'll show that in a little bit. You can see we have some updrafts, a lot of wind damage, maybe some tornadoes, but definitely heavy rainfall with these storms. But you can see this is where that first round of heavy rainfall is going to fall. And then you got that, and then watch this. So now we're at 6 p.m. You've got that first round that already went through and dropped. Let me see how much rain that thing already dropped. Let me see 1 second. Let me check one thing out. Yeah, okay. So that first round of rain already has dropped. Here we go. For a lot of these southern Iowa areas, 1 to 2 inches of rain, just spread out a little more. But if we get these 1 to 2 inches of rain at this point, at this time, from those first storms, that is a very major amount. Because watch what happens as we get into the evening. 9, 10, 11. As you can see, we get back building along this whole boundary. 11 p.m., 12 p.m. a.m. And look at this. Heavy, heavy rainfall for a lot of these same areas. And as you can see, it just keeps back building and training on itself. Look at that. That's a significant amount of rain continuing to fall over the same areas that have been hit 3, 4, 5 different times over the last couple days now. And that goes until almost 10 a.m. the next day. So what this says for rainfall totals right here is nearly 5 inches of rain. This is a model run. Usually your real life totals are going to be a little higher than model runs. This is showing almost 5 inches, over 5 inches for some areas in the exact area. Look at this. At the exact area that we had almost 7 inches the other day. If this is if this happens, there will be significant impacts through a large portion of central Iowa, especially Appanoose County and these surrounding counties around here that could be very majorly impacted by the double whammy that we've had. But as you can see, we've definitely got high potential for some significant flash flooding potential over the next 2 days here. So we're going to look at this first. This is a severe weather outlook as we get to the last couple things we're going to look at. We got a slight risk, which mostly is wind, but we also have a 2% tornado risk for most of eastern and southern Iowa and southern Wisconsin, northwestern Illinois. And then the next day we have another, let me go check. day 3. We have another marginal risk for further south, but that doesn't have as much impact on our areas we're looking at right now. Yeah, but for the most part here, we're really starting to look, as you can see, a little bit higher definition map. Let me go zoom in a little bit here. For the Iowa portion, oh wait, you can't do that. Whoops, my bad. Here we go. Back to the Midwest. So as you can see, this is very major potential for another significant rainfall event for much of the area. So definitely want to keep an eye out, waiting for National Weather Service watches and warnings. I guarantee we'll have a flood watch of some sort, and flash flood watch will definitely happen because it's so saturated. I'm very concerned about the potential over the next 2 days here as we get into Sunday, even into next week, for the major thing. But if you guys enjoyed, don't forget to like and subscribe. Guys, stay safe out there. It could be another potential major flooding day. Watch your rivers, creeks, streams. If you live in a low-lying area, you definitely want to be watching out, or especially near creeks and streams and other things like that. But yeah, anyways, guys, if you enjoyed, don't forget to like and subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next one. Goodbye. I kid you guys not, I literally just got done making this video and they just issued a flash flood watch. Or sorry, a flood watch for the next few days. So we're gonna go over that now. Portions of central, northeast, south central, southeast Iowa, all these blank. You can see all these counties right here if you want to read them yourself. I'm not gonna read them out, but basically every single county in central and southern Iowa right now. Several rounds of thunderstorms are expected this weekend. A band of heavy to very heavy rainfall may occur, especially Saturday night into Sunday night. Some locations may have event totals exceeding 5 inches in rainfall. That in combination with the 7 inches that we've already had with how wet it is could be very, very bad. Excessive runoff may result in flooding of rivers, creeks, streams, and other low-lying flood-prone areas. Creeks and streams may rise out of their banks, and flooding may occur in poor drainage in urban areas. And also mentions that low water crossings also may be flooded. So definitely another thing. It's just really funny that right after I got done, literally the second after I got done recording that last video, I just got this popping up. But yeah, we got a flood watch is now in effect for most of the areas.